On January 2, 2024, Panay Island covering Iloilo, Capiz, Aklan, and Antique was plunged into darkness. A massive blackout disrupted lives, halted businesses, and sparked heated debates on accountability. The cost, an estimated 3.8 billion in losses.
Nakaranas ng malawakang power outage ang ilang bahagi ng Panay Island. Ayon sa National Grid Corporation of the Philippines o NGCP, nagkaroon ng tripping sa ilang planta at inaalam pa ang sanhi nito.
Nawalan ng kuryente ang mga residente ng isla ng Panay, sabi ng National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, pasado alas 12 ng tanghali kahapon nang may mamonitor silang tripping sa ilang planta roon. Inaalam pa ang sanhi nito.
This is not just about power failure, it is also about how crisis communication shaped public trust and accountability.
The incident are looking at possible negligence by the National Grid Corporation.
I am angry for the suffering of our beloved Ilonggos and the rest of Western Visayas.
Iloilo City Mayor Jerry Treñas expressing his anger over the trouble caused by the 4-day blackout in his city and the rest of the island of Panay and Guimaras.
The question wasn't only, why did the lights go out? It became, who should we trust and who should we blame? In this presentation, we critically analyze the Panay blackouts using situational crisis communication theory to evaluate how government agencies, corporations, and local leaders handled the communication. Did their responses ease uncertainty and rebuild trust, or did they fuel confusion and reputational risk? Let us examine. According to situational crisis communication theory, the Panay blackout began as an accidental crisis, a technical mishap, carrying lower blame. The playbook calls for clear instructions and empathy, but as allegations of poor planning and coordination surfaced, the crisis drifted into the preventable category. Expectations shifted. The public wanted not just explanations, but apologies, accountability, and solutions. Stakeholders demanded clarity. Residents and hospitals needed outage schedules and reassurance. Local government units demanded firm restoration milestones and accountability. Regulators sought transparency and compliance. NGCP and power generators were expected to show unity and provide a corrective roadmap. Civil society wanted not only answers, but resilience, planning for the future.
According to a resident, the brownout lasted up to 12 hours.
Can you imagine yung sobrang init tapos hypertensive ka pa? Tapos walang electric fan, nothing.
One resident said he just wanted to be notified about a scheduled power outage.
Ang sinasabi lang po talaga ng electric company namin dito per province, hindi po nila assured kung kailan po pabalik. Kasi nagre-rely lang din po sila sa instructions mula sa NGCP.
Iloilo Governor Arthur Defensor Jr. said President Marcos had given a directive to resolve the problem.
Sabi ng Presidente that you should update the public and all Western Visayas of the status of our national grid, because it is sensitive right now, so that we will be able to adjust, we will be able to anticipate and prepare.
But how did the actual response compare to what theory demands? The Department of Energy positioned itself as a leader, but its quick turn to assign blame to NGCP risked looking defensive. Rapid public attribution to NGCP pushed franchise review, backed inquiries, partial match to SSCT, visible leadership, but early blame emphasis risks eroding unified message. Instructing info to public was less prominent than oversight language, need for better balance between fact-finding and immediate citizen guidance. NGCP, for its part, justified its technical decisions, but rarely expressed empathy, framed crisis as generation shortage, tripping, cited ERC rules, called for holistic fixes, mixed match to SSCT, reads as diminish, justify acceptable and accidental crisis, but amid attribution drift, stronger rebuild, corrective cues were expected, more empathy, apology, and concrete remedial steps would have reduced anger from LGS public. Local governments, however, emerged as communicators. They gave constant updates, declared a state of crisis, and put numbers behind the urgency. Local government units like Iloilo City, Province, assertive public pressure, crisis mode, loss estimates, calls for accountability, strong match to SSCT, on advocacy variable on instructing info consistency island-wide, useful for urgency, but a joint information center JIC would have synchronized message maps and schedules. The legislature also played a role televising Senate hearings, giving the public a sense of transparency, but not immediate relief. Legislature Senate House, prompt hearings and televised scrutiny, positive match to SSCT, for transparency, post-crisis learning. Hearing outputs should feed back into a public-facing corrective roadmap.
Iminungkahi ni House Speaker Martin Romualdez ang Maharlika Investment Corporation na ikonsidera ang pag-invest sa National Grid Corporation of the Philippines at ang strategic investment anya ay maaari magresulta sa pagpapatayo ng mga infrastruktura, mapababa ang presyo ng kuryente. At dahil dyan, mas mapapaunlad ang ekonomiya, mas magandang energy security at renewable energy integration. Sabi naman ni Senator Bato de la Rosa, kailangan talagang masilip ng maigi kung ano talaga ang mga nangyari dahil maraming naaapektuhan.
Malaking dagok yan sa ekonomiya ng Panay Island, ng mga probinsya ng Negros at saka Panay Island. Apektado daw lahat.
Ayon kay Senator Francis Escudero, suportado niya ang mga investigasyon pero hindi lang anya NGCP ang dawit. Dapat din anyang masilip ang mga power generation plants na nag-shutdown umano nang walang maayos na pasabi at ganoon din ang mga distribution companies. Isa pa si Senator Amy Marcos na nais maghain ng resolusyon para imbestigahan ang nangyaring power outage sa Panay Island. Hindi anya dapat nangyayari ang ganitong klaseng blackout at pangamba ng senador, paano pa kaya ang estado ng power grid kapag tumuntong na ng summer season? Sabi naman ni Senator Nancy Binay, ang nangyaring blackout sa Western Visayas ay isang malaking dent sa development ng bayan at maaaring isang paalala na kailangan nating magseryosong maghanap ng long-term solution para matugunan ang problema sa kuryente. Daniel Manalastas para sa Bayan.
Strengths observed. There were strengths in the response. High transparency via inquiries. The public saw active oversight. Rapid LGU mobilization and clear articulation of impact, e.g. economic losses, helped justify urgent action. Discourse on systemic fixes such as resource planning, ancillary services surfaced quickly, but there were also glaring weaknesses. Fragmented narratives such as generation versus transmission blame created message inconsistency and responsibility confusion, a classless SSCT risk that heightens reputational damage. Limited stealing the thunder preemptive, unified disclosure, and then adjusting info such as empathy, apology from technical actors during acute phase. Insufficient citizen-level instructing info early on, e.g. consistent rotating brownouts maps, lifeline facility prioritization, hospital guidance across all channels. If treated purely as accidental crisis, NGCPs diminish. Justify stance would be within bounds. But given the public shift towards preventability maintenance, coordination, resource adequacy, SSCT would urge a stronger rebuild posture, explicit apology, acceptance of some responsibility shared or conditional and visible corrective actions with dates, metrics. DOE's early accusatory framing projected resolve but reduced message unity. SSCT stresses the coherence and joint instructing, adjusting info are central to preserving trust during utilities crises. The Panay blackout is not just a case study, it is a warning and a roadmap. To prepare for the next crisis, we must learn from the gaps. First, establish a joint information center under Department of Energy, single source for dashboards, plain language explainers, and frequent estimated time of restoration updates. Second, codify playbooks that shift communication strategies as a crisis evolves from accidental to prevent. Rebuild when evidence tilts toward preventability. Include apology templates, compensation, rebate queues for affected SMEs, and corrective timelines. Third, create pre-crisis plans, message maps for rolling brownouts versus blackouts. What citizens should do, how critical facilities are prioritized, and why controlled load reduction prevents total collapse. And most importantly, ensure one voice, one message, one channel, because in a crisis, unity is not optional, IT is essential. One daily briefing, Shared talking points, consistent root cause narratives as facts solidify. Avoid public blame until joint initial report is released. After action review AAR with public report out. Publish corrective actions. Hold follow-up public hearings focused on implementation status, not just attribution. By SSCT standards, the Panay blackout started as an accidental crisis, but drifted towards a preventable attribution. In public discourse, the response showed strong transparency, but weak message unity and limited empathy. Corrective framing from technical actors during the acute phase. Anchoring future response on a Joint Information Center JIC. Plus SSCT triggered rebuild posture with apology, unified instructing, adjusting info, and dated corrective actions will better protect public trust and sector reputation the next time the lights go out.
Unti-unting sasagawa ang pagbabalik ng operasyon ng mga planta. Dagdag ng NGCP, asahan pa ang pagpatupad ng rotational brownouts hanggang maibalik ang normal na supply ng kuryente.
We do not deserve this. No one deserves this. We are looking for accountabilities.
Dapat natataranta na kayo. Napakadali sa inyo magsalita. Kasi hindi kayo apektado eh. Wala kayo doon sa Iloilo. Mandali kayo magsatsat dyan.
To do so, insisting it did not find any abnormality in the system, particularly in voltage and frequency.
The Panay blackout was not just about lost electricity. It was about trust, responsibility, and the power of words in the middle of chaos. In moments of darkness, people don't only wait for light, they wait for truth, for guidance, for assurance. This crisis showed us that electricity can be restored in days, but credibility can take years to rebuild. The lesson is clear. When silence fills the air, rumors multiply. When leaders divide, trust collapses. But when voices unite with empathy, honesty, and courage, communication itself becomes power. Because in every crisis, it is not only the lights that must be turned back on, it is hope.
Now here at home, President Marcos Jr. urges a National Grid Corporation to avoid a repeat of the Panay Island power outage. He gave that remark during the ceremonial switch-on of the Mindanao-Visayas Interconnection Project. Now during that event, he directed the NGCP to ensure the 3-day blackout on the island would not happen again. Marcos noted the power interruption caused 3.8 billion pesos in economic losses in Iloilo Province.
We acknowledge the NGCP's immense responsibility and role in maintaining the stability of our grid, including the need to ensure the completion of critical interconnection projects and to undertake other necessary activities to support a safe, reliable grid operation.
Bumalik na ang supply ng kuryente sa ilang bahagi ng Panay Island matapos ang 3 magkakasunod na unscheduled interruptions.
The lights in Panay eventually returned. Streets glowed again. Shops reopened. Families gathered under the hum of electricity. The island healed from disruption, but not from silence. Because when truth is delayed, wounds run deeper. When leaders speak in fragments, trust fractures. And when communication fails, even light cannot erase the shadows. Trust is not restored by flipping a switch. It is earned through honesty when it's hardest, empathy when it's rare, and coherence when it matters most. The Panay blackout leaves us with one unshakable truth. In every crisis, the most powerful current is not electricity. It is communication. It is credibility. It is the courage to speak with one voice and to never let the people stand in the dark again.